Well, we are here. It is the final week of the CrossFit Open. Welcome to the True Fitness Podcast. I'm your host and coach, Adrian Conway. Um, hey, the show did not disappoint, folks. If you watch the open announcement, watching Dallin Pepper, James Sprague, and Jason Hopper get after the chipper that was announced for 25.3 was something special. I mean, those guys completely sold out, pretty much nailed the timing as perfectly as you possibly could have, and barring just finding out a workout and then nailing it to the stimulus. I think they'll be just as successful at holding some of the top times as Austin Hatfield was to remain in the top 10. I don't know that someone will actually go get Dallin Pepper's time, even if they set things up better with a closer rower and consider running it back and doing it multiple times. So we definitely watched some of the fittest dudes in the world execute that. And that was also a really great one for them to, of course, attack. It suited many of their strengths and not a lot of their personal limitations. Now, had that inverted test been strict handstand push-ups, at a particular volume to create more of stoppage or sticking or slowing, then we might be talking about something a little bit different. But there was no real limiter in sight for these guys. The pacing only happened early in the first row. And of course, it was a nonstop show after that. Nonetheless, um, let me more responsibly go back to what I started with is, hey, we found out 25.3, and 25.3 is, let me share my screen with you. It is 50 calories, or I'm sorry, 5 wall walks, 50 calories, 5 wall walks, 25 deadlifts, 5 wall walks, 25 cleans, 5 wall walks, 25 snatches, 5 wall walks, 50-calorie row. Now, the men's weights go 225 for the dead, 135 for the clean, 95 for the snatch. Women's go 155 for the dead, 85 for the clean, and 65 for the snatch. So typical standards there. The wall walk is going to be at a set distance from the wall. And the calorie row, of course, is the calorie row. Now, the beauty in this chipper is that you will finish with a 50-calorie row. Now, if it was beautifully kind of sandwiched out and out and back, it would, of course, end with the wall walks, but it really doesn't feel as fun ending on the wall walks. And they know that. Dave knows that. Boz knows that. These people who are responsible for the helping this test actually be a potent stimulus to not just your physiological body, but also your mind, all are fully aware of the way that it feels when you got to end with a 50-cal row. Now, 20-minute time cap is going to mean a lot of folks are going to get capped by this. The everyday athletes, the intermediate athletes, but that can do these RX weights, like they're probably going to generously be time capped here. But there's a lot of the community that are going to finish this workout. We watched Tyson Pagent, of course, grind away. Shout out to Tyson. I feel like you belong in Las Vegas. Feel like you're a Raider at heart. So feel free to come through that way, of course, because Raider Nation. But nonetheless, great job for him taking the stage and doing the thing with the athletes. But there's some things that I wanted to highlight about this, of course, some considerations that I believe that you need to make and ways that you can optimize your own approach. First and foremost, with understanding this workout, you need to understand where your personal limiters are. Now, when we watch these athletes get after this, they didn't really have a particular limiter. That means Dallin Pepper, Jason Hopper, James Sprague, they looked at this workout, understood where the most fatigue would be built, and managed the fatigue throughout. Their heart rate was high, their breathing limiter was very high, but aerobically they trusted their fitness, and so they continued to work throughout the time domain. All those men finishing in under 10 minutes. Now, with that being said, for humans, I want to talk movement to movement. The wall walk. This is where upper body fatigue and pressing stamina, midline stamina is going to become a bit of a stoppage or a slowing point. So there will be opportunities for separation there, especially for athletes that are going to go outside of the top 3 to 4% in this workout. Athletes that are going to find their way within the top 2% are often going to be able to navigate the 5 wall walks at once. Maybe not as fast, of course, as the elite competitors that we watch just do it, but they will be able to execute a wall walk breath tempo for the 5 every time they get to the wall. So a couple big things there. When you consider putting your hands on the floor, of course, make sure they're already on the tape line. I'm a big fan at reaching the pike position as soon as possible, which means don't you ever start to step up your feet without first rising your hips. On a wall walk, when your hands are on the ground, your butt needs to rise as you lift your foot to the wall. Whether you choose to jump your feet to the wall or simply step and lunge up the wall, your bum needs to be up. This is going to prevent you from being in an overextended position in your midline, where if like my hand is your midline, you don't want to be in this position. It's going to make breathing more difficult and make everything more of a challenge for you. So keep your hands on the tape line, step your foot up, but get your bum up in the air. For people that really understand that your triceps are going to be a limiting factor and your arms are going to be blown up, you need to come to your knees, then lift your foot up and back, right? So come to your knees, bum is up high, foot is up against the wall, and now we're marching back. In the descent, it's really important to figure out the order of operations for you in the warm up, where you practice how it feels, how many steps that your hands take in order to hit the tape line before you know you can fully submit to kind of crashing or falling towards the ground. This range for a wall walk is way too long for you to risk getting your hands at the tape line as you're dropping your feet. You don't want to get any of those reps taken away, and you don't want them to be questionable on film and on tape. So make sure that you have that dialed in your warm up is the biggest advice that I can offer you there. And then, of course, when you do have to rest for those as they accumulate into the fourth or the fifth block of wall walks, and we're getting closer to the 25 range, you need to make sure that you understand that your pronated position there, just laying on the ground, prone, head out to the side, hands relaxing on the ground is the best position. Don't keep your hands in that push-up position, even if you're not holding your body weight. It will accumulate fatigue in your triceps with your arm in that bent position. Try to sprain them out, head to the side, shake them out, and then get right back to work. So that's the wall walk portion. When it comes to the barbell, 3 different movements, all varying in loads. The deadlift reps need to be broken up early and often. Don't be foolish. Don't be stupid. Don't try to be someone that you're not, meaning you just watched the fittest man on earth attack this thing. One of these 3 guys is likely going to be up there towards the top of the podium at the end of the competition season there in New York when we go back in August. And you watch Dallin Pepper break it up early and often, even I believe down to sets of 5s for his 25 deadlifts. So don't be stupid and think that you're any different or any fitter than him. Now, do you need to have a great mindset about it? That bar needs to hit the ground and you should already be on your way to picking it up again. Yes, that is true. So if you're someone that struggles with picking up the bar, don't struggle with picking up the bar. Be better about picking up the bar. I kid you not, the amount of people that are just like, I'm not really great at restarting. Guess what? That's a choice. That's a complete choice. I'm not really good. I don't really trust myself. Well, when your brain tells your body to do something, it actually just follows it. So you might need a coach to tell you, but you get your brain telling your body to do something. And if you're not going to fail the thing, you'll pick it up. So try to figure that out in your warm up. Play with small sets, do 3, drop it. And as you're dropping it, be letting it go, be following it to the ground, get ready again, 3, drop it, right? The idea is to create a cadence and a confidence in doing that limits grip fatigue and also allows you the slight relief of the bar being weightless coming to the ground versus you guiding it to the ground and eccentrically loading your body in any way, even if it's just to um, redirect it. So be smart about that. Now, um, in regards to the power clean, singles all the way. Now, Dallin Pepper, this is where if you think that you got elite fitness is where you're going to be able to catch him potentially, is that you actually load the bar in such a way that you can strip the plates, or you can have people changing weights for you so that you can load it with 245s for the deadlift and then a 45 for the power clean with a set of 45s that settle very well, means that you drop it and they don't bounce. If that's the case, you won't have to chase your bar as much. Go back and watch the film of Dallin. I'm going to pull up some highlights here in a moment for us to see, and you'll see the way that he's forced to navigate the power cleans as he does so, that cost him seconds, right? Seconds in the 25, but he did singles all the way through. Then when it comes to the barbell snatches, this is where even likely the elites are going to be forced to hang on. Everyday athletes, I would still encourage you to do singles. And the biggest responsibility is going to be following the bar to the ground and, of course, adjusting to the weight as it bounces and hits the ground. But if you can keep it from hitting your homies and hitting you or hitting you in the shins and bouncing all over the place, do singles. And I say that because the bar's got to start and stop on the ground every time. You might as well just pick it up from the ground instead of guiding it and babysitting it down. But the thing to consider about that is that from an elite perspective, those of you chasing the 1%, those of chasing you top 30, top 40, top 50 in the East and the West and across the world at large, you're going to want to think about the set range that you want to break it up in. Is it going to be 5x5? Is it going to be 10, 8, 7? But to get to 25, have something that holds you accountable and you don't just go by feel. Very high level elite athletes can talk to you and they can tell you, yeah, I did it by feel, but it's because they understand what it's like to deny themselves in the middle of a workout and they can listen to, am I risking failure here? And am I actually slowing down because I'm uncomfortable? Elite athletes that have been to the CrossFit games, they start to understand this feeling and they can discern the difference between the two. They can discern the difference between discomfort and failure or discomfort and risk of failed reps. Most athletes, even at the semifinal level, struggle with this. And if you struggle with this discernment, you have to have a set rep scheme to hold yourself accountable. Otherwise, you're going to get to 7 and feel like you need to drop the bar because it's uncomfortable when you drop it at 7, but you fully intended to do 10 and you could have done 10. So be mindful of that and that trap. Have a plan or plan to fail with the snatches. We talked wall walks, we talked the barbell, and now it's time to talk the row. In the row, you need to have a strategic plan for what wattage or what calories per hour you hope to hit in the first 50 cals. Maybe even have a goal targeted time. You can look up what your splits need to be, or you can look up what your pace needs to be based on your desired time to get off the rower. This is important because you will feel good. You're coming off of 5 wall walks. You're going to feel fantastic going to the rower. That doesn't mean that you should go fast. That is going to negatively set back exponentially almost what happens the rest of the workout. Again, I said we're going to go back and we're going to take some snippets from this video and watch it on YouTube. So stay tuned if you're watching with me on YouTube. But I want you to be mindful of the pace that James Sprague starts at and then how he comes and walks down Jason Hopper throughout the course of this workout based on the first row pace, right? Jason was in this head-to-head with Dallin throughout the vast majority of the workout. So he pushed and reached a little on that row where James stayed reserved. He was very cool and confident with being in third throughout the vast majority of this workout. And then he was able to negative split as time passed his effort and his probably rate of perceived exertion. So if you asked him on an RPE scale, you know, halfway through that workout or getting off the row or even in the 50 cals, how he felt, he might have said 8 out of 10, where the other gentleman would have said 9 out of 10. And that allowed him to be rewarded later in the workout. Again, calories on a rower can be very misleading. You get off 3 calories behind someone, you feel like you're an eternity behind them. And in reality, on the barbell alone, on the wall walks alone, 3 to 4 calories can be made up. 10 to 15 seconds, 10 to 20 seconds, 20 to 25, even up to 30 seconds can be made up if you lose that time on the erg, if you pace it wisely. Now, the caveat to that, or the other side of the coin, is that if you overpace, you will get left in the dust. So, yes, it still must be executed at a threshold. Is this going to be hard? Coach Conway, you're not giving me any direct answers. I know that. That's why you have had to be the one to put in the training leading up to this point. That's why you had to be the one to develop the self-awareness throughout all the days and all the sessions and all the meters and calories rode and erged and all the things, so that when I start to lay down this information for you, you have a better understanding of what that means for you. But that's your responsibility. So, because I don't know you personally. So again, have a time frame to get off the rower for the first one, have some wattage or calories per hour that you want to hit, hold yourself accountable, get off of that rower hungry for the next block of wall walks before you get to the barbell superset with the wall walks. Okay, because that's going to be the meat and potatoes of the workout where you can win and lose most of the time. The final row, you know what it is. It's sell your soul time. And like I mentioned when I started this video, they knew exactly what they were doing when they programmed it this way and in this order. They want people to sell their soul on the rower. Now, the caveat to that is that if you get on this rower and you're already hurting, and then you try to row too fast on the rower within the first 15 calories, you will bury yourself and bury the psychological and emotional momentum that you can be rewarded if you start at the appropriate pace on the final 50 calories. What's this look like? Well, it looks like, again, you having a plan. So I would encourage you to consider having a plan for, and very similar to the calories per hour that you're going to put out on that first rower. That's a minimum standard that you got to get up and get going within the first 5 to 10 strokes on the rower on the back half of this workout. The final movement is the row. In the first 5 to 10 strokes, you need to get it up to a particular calorie wattage. And then your goal from there on out is, once you get to close to 20 calories, every 5 or every 10 calories, you got to start dropping the speed. You got to start increasing the speed. You got to start building a physical and emotional momentum that you can do this, that this is the end, that this is the final stretch. And by the time you hit 30, it is rock your world, give me what you got, sell your soul for the final 20. And you just hold on for dear life, pulling with power, pulling with efficiency, driving with your legs, getting tall in the finish, finishing with your upper body as much as you can. Because, hey, upper body wise, from a pulling perspective, we should feel pretty good. Although those 25 snatches, I'm sure, really added up. But it's about pulling with your upper body with some ferocity and tenacity to help your legs, because your legs are going to be cooked at this point. And you're going to be breathing hard, and you're going to want to coast through the finish, and you cannot do that. You deserve better than that. And so does the finish to the 2025 Open. So be mindful of that. Lay it on the line there, but you got to be strategic with when and how. Okay. So that's a general rundown of all the movements and all the considerations you need to make. You need to make sure your thumb's taped so you can use hook grip for the deadlifts, for the cleans, for the snatches. If you need a belt because you're not good at hinging, you need to belt up. Leave your pride at the door, put the belt on, wear it the whole time if you need to. Don't be caught playing with it just to only wear it for certain movements or loosen and tighten it. Just wear it moderate tension all the way maybe through the deadlift. Like right when you get off the row for the first row, you tighten that thing up and you rock it through the deadlifts. Maybe it helps you with the wall walk, stay tight. I'm not sure where you're at. But the idea is to meet yourself where you're at with capacity so that you feel like you're operating at threshold throughout this entire test. And again, for me, a couple things I'll need for this one is wristbands, because I'm going to be very sweaty. Thumb tape for my hook grip to save my forearms, because your grip's going to get blown. And then, of course, potentially a belt. I won't use a belt, but potentially if these loads are at hard for you at all, or you know that hinging is a limiter for you and your erectors tend to get blown up, I would consider using it. Let's jump into some video review real quick. So screen share, let's pull up these savages absolutely murdering this workout.
3,
Oz being
2,
the man that he is.
1, go!
And we are underway in the capital region here in New York. It is 25.3.
And immediately, it's clockwork for these guys. As we look at Hopper here, hands to the line, jumping his feet up. Now, for those of you, again, top 1 percenters, at this point, you're probably jumping your feet up, right, for everyone. I don't believe that you can start this portion of the workout slow enough to just step up and expect not to lose time throughout 25 reps on guys like this if you're trying to walk down the top 30 position and qualify to the East or the West via semifinals, or anywhere in Europe and Australia.
Now, Joel, here's where I think it's going to be tempting to catch your breath
some of those out. I don't have a lot of athletes in those regions this year.
You're going to have to keep that
again,
pace up high.
we're going to talk pacing a little bit. These guys sat down. I believe they were going somewhere around 1,500, 1,400. Tall rigs, big rigs. These guys are all over 200 pounds. They're great at making a large load travel long distance quickly. Aerobically, they are extremely fit. So with that being said, you need to meet yourself where you are at with being able to compare yourself to what these guys are doing, but also have a reality check, right? And this is what we're watching here from Sprague, is that as we watch these guys kind of get through this row, is that he's cool with chilling. He's cool with starting to take a little bit of a back seat so that he then can make the move on Hopper later, which again is completely strategic. And we look at 1,600 calories per hour, 1,500 calories per hour on average here. I believe this is Pepper's. No, that's Pagent's. That's Travis Pagent. Now, again, NFL quarterback here, he completely falls off this pace. And I know that his dad was mentioning that was one of his goals, was to see if he could beat James Sprague off the rower. So he's probably watching James and just trying to do his thing. Little did he know James was intentionally slacking here so he could walk down Hopper later. Now, Hopper's doing his best to actually conserve a bit of juice here too, right? Far from his means. This is going to be the battle for most of you. Self-awareness in this area here. Push, but don't push too hard. We see 1,400 watts there. They're already at 40 calories. It's offensive and ridiculous. I'm going to speed you guys up here. So we see these guys get off the rower at pretty much the same time. Notice the same tempo on the wall walks. Again, it's a jump off the ground. Hands go down. These guys are completely off the wall when it comes to James Sprague getting started. I believe this is Hopper's last wall walk. Oh, no. Okay. So they were 4 walks. Hopper was 4 walks in as Sprague starts to now get back to the wall and do his thing. Now, notice Belt City here. They all got their belts on. They're adjusting their belts as they get to the deadlift. This is the portion they probably bail on the belts after this. But again, look at Hopper holding on for bigger sets. How much time does that help him gain? Nothing. He gains basically 1 rep only to see Pepper pick up his pace because he's dropping it consistently. Hopper's reps get a little bit slower. Now, they're never contrived, so I don't want to bash Jason for doing this because this is totally in his wheelhouse. He can do this. But when it comes to math and time under tension, Pepper lost no time, and look at the rest there from Hopper. Equally, Hopper rested as long as Pepper each time. Dallin's cycle rate stayed high because he rested more often. Still kept his lead going into the wall walks. James doing something similar to Dallin. Very short rests. There, it looks like Chuck might be letting him get away a little bit with the shoulders staying a little bit in front of the bar there. But that's touchy, and that's hard for me to say. And I say this with your deadlifts. Stand up all the way, squeeze your bum. But it doesn't say pull your shoulder blades back. Right? You don't have to pull your shoulder blades back. You can have a little bit of that kyphotic and rounded upper back as long as you extend your hips all the way. Now we're going to watch Pepper here start to put on a singles clinic all the way to 25 reps on the power clean. So he's doing 1 rep at a time. He does have to babysit his bar a little bit, which I know is annoying. This really ticks me off when I have to do this with a barbell. But again, you guys might be able to load your barbells differently and have people change your weights so that you can do this more conveniently with a 45-pound plate that won't jump all over the place. Equally, these guys are also using, for all these announcements, they use competition shorty bars. So same diameter you're using. They're not using a female bar, but it's shorter, again, which adds a little bit of an opportunity for more play because of the more change plates and smaller plates that have to make the 135. Now, Hopper linking more reps together. Sprague, the only difference here is that Pepper's faster off the ground with the singles. James here not even making hip contact with the bar, I really like. I think that if you don't do this and you haven't played with this at all, him not brushing his thigh on the way up, you should try it because what it turns into is a longer deadlift. It can sometimes help athletes keep their heart rate down. There's no jump. There's no real go. If you watch Pepper jump here as he brushes his thigh, it's not costing him much energy. He's very fluid and efficient at this. However, that jarring motion is almost like a jump. Think about jumping rope or double unders and you wear a heart rate monitor. That's what gets your heart rate sky high, even if it doesn't feel that hard. So Pepper's back to the wall. I believe this is now our 15th. He's going to finish with his 15th wall walk here. And, you know, the beauty here in watching him execute this way is they look the same. They're a little slower in regards to cyclical rate, but there's hardly a pause. I want you to notice how narrow his hands are. Look at how stacked he gets under his body as his hands make his way back. This is key to help the structure of your body help you support your body and not just your triceps. If your hands start getting wide, folks, you're going to be in bad trouble. I would encourage a lot of you to consider drawing a line from the lines to the wall that will help you trace it. If you notice James to the left, he's doing that right now. He's got a line from the line to his hands, and that helps him stay on track and stay narrow. This is going to help him think power efficiency. Pepper picked up the barbell. I believe he did 5 reps. I could be wrong. I wasn't counting there, so my apologies. But again, what you need here is a plan, or you plan to fail. You got to know what you're going to do. And I would say break them early and often, which means, hey, drop it before you want so that you force yourself to pick it up faster. We see Hopper, again, dug himself a little bit in a deficit there. Too big a set, big fella. I would have said dropped it sooner. Now, hindsight's 20/20. My man absolutely killed this workout. But learn from watching other athletes go. Gather as much information as you can and make your run as clean as you can be. The unfortunate reality for most of you is that you can nail this better than James, nail this better than Tyson, nail this better than Dallin, nail this better than Jason, and still not be anywhere close to their times because they're fitter than you. But that's what you want. You want to think about maximizing your own potential and then eating your humble pie being like, yo, those dudes just were better. But don't sabotage yourself by trying to be them when you're not them. Pepper back to the wall again. Hopper still chalking up. It's another thing here. Don't chalk during any of these movements. If you're going to chalk, grab chalk on your way to the barbell. You don't need chalk for 25 snatches at 95 pounds. The bar's not going to slip out of your hands. And if it does, you can show me, send me a video of it slipping out of your hands with a hook grip if you're wearing tape like I told you to. In the meantime, chalk is just a crutch for you. So don't hide behind it. Stay at the bar, do the work. Final wall walks here. Pepper had already put in all the work that he needed to have a substantial lead. And this is really where now he gets to enjoy himself. And I want to say this, when you're in this atmosphere and Pepper sits on the rower and he starts breathing, now there's urgency. He has no idea where these other fellows are. Hopper could have been only 1 rep behind him for all he knows. And here he comes. What he doesn't want is to give Jason an opportunity or confidence because Jason is a little taller than Dallin. So is James. They might be able to get there. And maybe they've been gaming him the whole time, right? That's what Dallin's worried about. There's where his insecurity creeps in on the rower. So he's actually pushing it enough to be like, okay, I can't let these guys just come hammer down. And now as he starts, you saw that glance left to right. He knows where they're at. He knows he got 10 calories on him. Now he has freedom and the pain lessens the rest of the way. Now, I'm not saying he's not selling out. And I'm not saying this isn't painful. But what I'm saying is that to win an event, and to be in the lead to finish. When that pain sits in, it's a different type of pain and joy and feeling than the guys that are fighting tooth and nail for second and third. But I want to highlight again James's pace on the back half of this workout because of what he was willing to do on the first row and how he navigated the wall walks in the latter 10 reps. He made up ground on Jason Hopper there. And then, of course, we get a great shot of Dallin to finish. And it's amazing what they're able to do. All three of these athletes, tremendously impressive. But I wanted to highlight there. I wanted to watch that with you guys so that you could see a little bit of that. I'm going to stop my sharing and then end it with this. Hey, this is the final week of the CrossFit Open. To me, I'm going to be honest, I think the programming nailed it. I think it's a great way to see a cascading flavor of weights without having to do a max lift. If you're CrossFit strong, show us by moving the weights faster. If you're CrossFit fit, show us by doing the skills faster in week 2, right? And then if you just have a high level work capacity and you consider yourself a dog and a workhorse, show us in week 1 because you got a flavor of all of it. And it was a mixed pot. Both of the week 2 workouts felt like chippers to me, week 2 and week 3. And I think that's okay. I think that those are some of the most fun workouts for the community. There's great variability in movement selection and week 2 and week 3. And hopefully you guys enjoyed that. But I think that's it for my plan, prep, and primer. As usual, go to truefitness.com. We'll have a blog up. We'll be sending out an email. So make sure you get on our email list. And we've been offering throughout this whole open, a free nutrition guide. If you guys are done with the open and it's new exposure, you're new here on this channel, or you're new following along with me or True Fitness, go to the website and please get our nutrition guide. It's completely free. All you got to do is subscribe to our email list, and it's a PDF on how to properly assess like what kind of fueling you need to be doing in a week. I'm sorry, not in a week, but in a series of qualification style workouts like this, and also giving a lot of you an idea of how we might guide you in regards to nutrition coaching. It's something that we offer: one-to-one program design, nutrition coaching, affiliate mentorship, and custom programming, where we're one-stop shop. We actually even input into your software the workouts that we design for your gym. And if you have questions about any of that stuff, of course, you can reach out and apply for a call time slot with yours truly here. And then, of course, we've got a beautiful 7-day free all access for you right here in the corner. Scan that and join True Fitness and train to rise up so that you can reach whatever goals that it is that you have set for yourself. We got a program for all of you. Nonetheless, team, thanks for joining me. Have fun with this. It's repeatable. I believe that a lot of you probably won't want to repeat this if you nail the pacing. If you miss and go too hard, too fast, you'll feel a little bit down about it. But there's a lot of transitions here. Be disciplined, be urgent, make a plan or plan to fail. And please reach out if you got questions. I'd love to help you all with the time that I have available. But you know what I'm going to leave you with? Finish strong and keep rising.